This is a Crabby.
Little guy.
And this is a crab. Is Crabby merely a cartoonized crab, or is there more to its design than that? We know when it evolves it gets pretty cray-cray, but not crayfish is a king crab. But Crabby? Just on its own? What does its name get across? Whoa, it's a crab. It's like the generic way you call a dog you don't know the name of. Oh, doggy, doggy, come here, doggy. Oh, crab, crabby, crabby, come here, crabby. I mean, someone can be crabby, it just means they're grumpy, but Crabby is not really grumpy in the slightest. It's just a little samurai crab or a sand bubbler crab. And I don't think either of them are capable of being grumpy. I mean, maybe a little bit peeved in the moment, but as soon as they're done or they look some other direction, they forget all about it. Very few thoughts are found within this carapace. But here's the thing, the real secret about Crabby that's hidden in plain sight is indeed in the name, and it's right there. The K. Sure, it makes the same sound as a C in this case, but there is something more sinister going on. The more K's you add to something, the more sinister it tends to be. And in this case, it's showing us that Crabby is in fact not a real crab at all. It is Imitation Krab. Which is almost always spelled with a K. Look at this! This small change in spelling makes it apparent if you're buying a can of crab meat that's real crab, like this crab that I have just now named Crabby with a C, or if it's Imitation Krab, like this Pokemon named Crabby with a K. Which totally changes the whole dynamic of, like, the Krusty Krab, too, doesn't it? Like, Mr. Krabs is such a desperate cheapskate that his burgers are mostly fake filler. It's imitation burgers. But it's not like the be-all, end-all rule ever, though. You can still find Imitation Krab spelled with a C at supermarkets. People started catching on to the whole K thing, so they had to rebrand. But where you will almost always see it spelled with a K are in restaurant menus. Except even that has fallen out of fashion. Spelling crab with a K to indicate its Imitation Krab peaked in the 90s and early 2000s, which is the right time period for Crabby, but even recently the restaurant chain P.F. Chang's got sued over this. Their menu's called Imitation Krab Crab Mix with a K, and just how is a customer supposed to know that changing a word changes its meaning? But just what is Imitation Krab? Because you could very well use that as a descriptor of Crabby, the Pokemon. It's not a real crab. It's a Pokemon. And well, the answer is pretty straightforward. Imitation Krab is made mostly of leftover bits of fish meat from the factories, or just white fish, or surimi, fish with almost no taste at all. And then you add in fillers that add flavors, salt, starch, egg, sugar, things like that to help it form a more crab-like shape and structure, or take on a more crab-like flavor. The cheaper stuff typically has no real crab in it at all, and the nicer, pricier stuff maybe has some crab broth as a flavoring agent. I didn't mean to actually lick it. Crab is pretty expensive compared to a lot of seafood, at least where I'm from and in most of the US. This one crab was $26! Gosh dang it, Crabby! So using a carb-filled fake crab is the more economic option. So Crabby here is much more economical. It's an imitation. Heck, this is a plush. It's an imitation of an imitation. Plus, this plush was what, like $11? I can buy 2 of them for the price of this one real crab. And plus, they don't smell as bad. Ooh, now kiss. I don't want him to touch. So what's the real lesson here? What is the thesis of this whole video? Well, it's just that Crabby is not a real crab. No real crab looks like this. Crabby is a Pokemon, and I have to eat this crab now.
Hey, the recipe doesn't say. How much salt does it take?
Oh, just a pinch.
And where did you even get that crab?
I picked it up at that pit stop that also sells crab and pizza. What's it called? At the Crust Station. Oh, and be sure to sprinkle on the crab apples at the end. We need our vitamin C.
These jokes are clawful.
I find them crab-tivating.
Oh, and where's the Old Bay seasoning?
It should be at the top of the spice crabnet.
Can you please be more specific?
I think it's right by the coffee, the instant crabpuccino mix.